What's up, Sam Hacker? We are carrying on with our test and exam level questions, and this one is no different. It is a banger. So let's jump in. So you might be looking at this and think to yourself, what the heck is going on here? Well, do not stress. We're going to do something similar like we did in the previous video, where we're going to work with our prime factors. So I am going to manipulate this equation because I know that everything can be to the base of 3, okay? So let's go ahead and do that first. 3 to the power of x is going to stay the same. Times 9, remember 9 is the same as 3 to the power of 2, and then I'm timesing with the y, so it's going to be 2y is equal to 81, which is the same as saying 3 to the power of 4. And you know that when the bases are the same, we can drop them and simply add the exponents. So what we'll be left with here is x plus 2y is equal to 4. Okay, now it's going to be so much easier to just make x the subject of this particular formula. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and say x is equal to 4 minus 2y. And that then will be my first equation. And then I'm going to do something a little different. I'm actually going to manipulate the second equation as well to make it as simplified as possible, because remember, I want to make my life easy, especially under time pressure in tests and exams. So you know that if there is an exponent outside the bracket, you multiply it inside the bracket with the exponents there. So what we will be left with is then 2 to the power of x squared over 2 to the power of xy is equal to 4. But I'm going to manipulate that even further because I have 2 of the same bases here. And because those bases are the same, I can take this exponent up over the fraction line and change its sign. And then the other thing that I can do is change this 4 to its prime factors of 2 so that I've got all the same bases. So that's going to look something like this. 2 to the power of x squared minus xy is equal to 2 to the power of 2. Okay? Now, because my bases are the same, I can drop them and simply work with the exponents. So I'm left with x squared minus xy is equal to 2. And that then is what I'm actually going to call my second equation. Can you see that this is way simpler than this bad boy over here? Okay, so the next thing we do is we put 1 into 2. I'm quickly just going to write my second equation, which is x squared minus xy is equal to 2. And then I want to make sure that I'm substituting this x in here. So I will then have 4 minus 2y squared, okay, minus 4 minus 2y times y is equal to 2. Now I'm going to expand this bracket to make it easier for myself to multiply. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the y in here first before I work with the negative. So I'm going to say minus, in brackets, 4 times y is 4y, negative 2 times y is negative 2y squared. And then the last thing I'm going to do is simply move that 2 over the equal sign and change the sign and make everything equal to 0. So it's going to be minus 2 is equal to 0. Nice. Now we can do FOIL with our brackets over here. 4 times 4 is going to give me 16. 4 times negative 2y is going to give me negative 8y. Negative 2y times 4 is going to give me negative 8y. And negative 2y times negative 2y is going to give me positive 4y squared. Then the next thing I'm going to do is multiply this minus in the bracket. So I'm going to have minus 4y plus 2y squared. And then I'm left with a negative 2. And that's all equal to 0. Excellent. Now I have something that I can simplify. So we have 4y squared and 2y squared. That is going to give me 6y squared. I'm going to cancel them out. Then I have negative 8y, negative 8y, and negative 4y. That is going to give me minus 20y. I'm going to cross them out because I have used them. Then I'm going to say 16 minus 2. That's going to give me 14. And I'm going to cross these out. What you should be seeing is that these are all divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide by 2 to simplify as far as I possibly can. I will be left with 3y squared minus 10y plus 7, and that's all equal to 0. So now I'm going to factorize. Draw your two brackets, stick an equal sign behind it, and you know that the one bracket's definitely going to have 3y and the other one is going to have y, right? Because the only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. Then you need to ask yourself, okay, if I look at the sign that accompanies c, that's a positive, which means that the signs in my brackets have to both be the same. But because the sign by b is a negative, I now know that, okay, cool, both signs need to be negative. So I stick them in my bracket. Now, the only factors of 7 are 1 and 7. You're going to stick your 7 in this bracket, and you're going to stick your 1 in this bracket, because if you multiply it out, you will then get negative 10y plus 7. So now what you want to say is 3y minus 7 is equal to 0, or y minus 1 is equal to 0. Now we want to solve for y. So we'll have 3y is equal to positive 7 on this side. Then we divide both sides by 3 because we want to get y alone, right? So these 3's are going to cancel out, and you're going to have y is equal to 7 over 3 on this side, and y is equal to 1 on this side. Now all you need to do is say, put your y values into 1. Simply write your y values down quickly, and then you want to put that first equation that you had right in the beginning, which is this one over here. So let's quickly stick it in. Brilliant. Now all we need to do is sub our y into it. So we have x is equal to 4 minus 2 times 7 over 3. And then on the side, we're going to have x is equal to 4 minus 2 times 1. On this side, you're going to have x is equal to negative 2 over 3. Strange answer. I know it looks strange, but it is indeed correct. And then on the other side, you can have x is equal to 2. And there you have your 4 answers. So you should have y is equal to 7 over 3, y is equal to 1, x is equal to negative 2 over 3, and x is equal to 2. And that then is the simultaneous equation done and dusted. If you need to pause, rewind, go over it again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing things over a couple of times. And these ones are a little bit tricky, so it is well worth going over until you understand what is going on. But if you are ready to move on, then make sure to dive into the next video and let's get stuck in. It's the hardest one of them all, and I cannot wait to tackle it with you.